If you have done many businesses and jobs like I did when I was young, and failed in life without making any headway, I strongly recommend you watch this video carefully to the end. Because after watching and understanding it, it may change your destiny. This video mainly explores where the watershed lies between people who can change their fates and those who cannot. I once read in a book that the core factor determining one's destiny is not IQ, but mental strength. I call it heart strength. I have done many jobs, all unsuccessfully. Figuratively speaking, I have worked all kinds of jobs, supermarkets, game studios, and so on. I worked in a game studio around 2007 making World of Warcraft. Things went very smoothly at first. My monthly income fluctuated between $20,000 to $30,000. We were making money happily. Suddenly, in 2008 or 2009, my account got banned. Just imagine, a poor college student finally finds the threshold to making money, and gets kicked off it with one foot. With my account banned, we had to disband the studio to keep food on the table. Later we started a roadside barbecue stall, then went south to Guangdong to work. I did many kinds of jobs there, won't elaborate here. After that, I did many jobs, tough jobs, grinding workshops, coding workshops, laptop R&D, quality inspector, opened all kinds of shops. That is to say, I have quite abundant social experience. I felt like I failed at everything, nothing went smoothly. I also got to know some young people like me, looking for ways to turn our situations around. Then I discovered a funny problem. After I changed my own destiny, most others did not. At the point when the gears of destiny could start turning, people like me all went looking for secrets of success. But the difference is, we all went to Xinhua bookstore to read books, most simply looking at motivational and success books. But what we did after reading was completely different, and that is the watershed of destiny. I found most motivational and success books don't help most people. For instance, I read one book and never read another one again, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Why didn't I read more? Because I feel most people fail to succeed because those success philosophy books all preach similar ideas. Most ordinary people's choice is to read one book, throw it away, read another, throw it away, over and over. In fact, the main ideas they're hearing are roughly the same. So I believe the correct life cycle is not to keep reading books, finding self-consolation, but to keep grinding at your weaknesses, your habitual flaws that hinder your development. At the time when I read How to Win Friends and Influence People, I recited and memorized the core points of its 10 chapters. Chapter 1 was mainly about habits. Chapter 2 about love. Chapter 3 about perseverance. Chapter 4 about confidence. Chapter 5 about cherishing time. Chapter 6 about controlling emotions. I still can't quite do this today. Chapter 7 was to find ways to make yourself happy in daily life, to smile through the world. If you're not happy, you have to create happiness, create confidence. You have to create more of these experiences. Chapter 8 was about fulfilling your value. To fulfill your value, you first have to find your talents. Then Chapter 9 said that action dispels fear, action leads to the subconscious. Chapter 10 said people need faith. Steadfastly believing in something makes doing it easier by influencing the subconscious. You not only need to input positive, active beliefs to yourself. So every day I spend a lot of time telling myself, I'm a genius, I'm one in a million, I'm a uniquely great existence in the universe. No matter who says I'm narcissistic or stupid, I don't care. In life, to succeed, or greatly change your destiny, you really don't need to read many books. If you can really live by the 10 points of one book, memorize them in your brain. The correct life cycle is not to frantically increase your cognition, but take what you believe is the essence, summarize 10 such points, and then just grind away at them. So the starting point for me changing my destiny was to start from habits. For example, when I encountered difficulties, I shrank back. Wanting to rely on someone, I realized this was my first habit. The second habit was I had an ingratiating personality, always wanting to please this or that person. Then I observed those successful people around me were all very opinionated. After realizing my habits, I never let them off. Because I believe that for a person to unlock the door of destiny, he must gain scarce value. If you don't have scarce value, how can you unlock it? Everyone can do what you can do, how can you earn big bucks? In self-reflection, I thought about why I previously earned so much when I had the game studio. It was because my gaming skills were so awesome. My rankings in that profession were the highest. I said I could do it for you. I wasn't trying to cheat your money. People immediately bought. I feel that following some simple success principles, the truly difficult thing is how you manage to do them. Most people actually struggle at this point. Failing to execute, they move on to the next success or motivational book, but find those books all preach similar core ideas after chewing them over. Where people really get stuck is in the 3 characters can't do. So later I came to this philosophy called make the impossible possible. There are actually many methods, it's just the person themselves can't endure the pain. For us humans, the words pain and suffering are like the plague, we want to run just hearing them. At the time, the 4th point I memorized was confidence. Why should people be confident? I feel being confident is not enough, you need arrogance. When we do things, we tend to overthink too much, mentally exhausting ourselves, facing huge resistance. Doing one thing, you keep recalling in your mind Shin saying I have no talent, Li saying I can't do it, Wang saying my pronunciation is no good. The reason your execution is poor is because you can't enter an arrogant state of mind. Arrogant people don't have those numerous mental obstacles when taking action. So arrogance is not to disgust others, but to reduce your obstacles to action. Thinking you're the best, you can accomplish anything. If your mind is filled with these complex thoughts and the voices of manipulation, you will be timid and cautious about everything. I tease myself every day. Like today, I don't feel like recording videos, but force myself to get up from bed. How? I'm unwilling, right? I smack myself like now, smack myself awake. This is making the impossible possible. Often you think you can't do something, but actually you're not being ruthless enough to yourself. You don't believe me? Someday when you want to do something valuable, difficult yet right, and you can't do it, learn from me. Let me demonstrate now, smacking myself. 1 smack doesn't work, then 2 smacks. Because people really hate being hit and humiliated by others, but don't mind doing it themselves. If you can be as ruthless to yourself as I am, I really think your destiny can also change. Then praise yourself every day. The 5th point is people must learn to treasure time. Because I later realized that time, if you use it to do valuable things, can change your destiny. Doing worthless things is called wasting time. You can only get better over time. People always feel like they have endless time, but that is not so. The older you get, the more your energy declines. And time's most important point is, people must find their first accomplishment, which requires accumulating time. For example, if you want to learn computer well, hypothetically, you now set a goal, finish reading the classics, which maybe is only a few pages a day because you still have to work. But to truly gain that learning might take 2 years. To accomplish one thing, whether in perseverance cost or time cost, far exceeds ordinary people's imaginations. Speaking so plainly now, if you don't believe me, you can try it. Try to truly accomplish something you desperately want to do well. You will find it takes at least 1 to 2 years minimum, and requires extremely meticulous effort, advancing diligently every day. Many people always say the hardest part of doing something is the beginning. That's not true, the hardest is persisting. Around 60 to 70 days, it becomes unbearable. Truly, because I persisted in running for over 2 years, ran over 3,000 kilometers. To be honest, around 70 to 80 days it really became unbearable. Suddenly one day I was lazy and then never did it again. That time is the hardest, mundane and tiring. Then I spent 7 years to do one thing well, only started seeing a little return after 7 years. There are 4 stages for people to change their destinies. The first stage is the emotions and instincts stage. The biggest trait of this stage is continuously indulging in your own emotional pleasures and instincts, while being totally unaware of the bad things you've done, constantly finding excuses and rationalizations for yourself. For example, one of my previous employees borrowed money from many people, including borrowing $2,000 from me. Later he swore, "Boss, I will never borrow money again in my life." But after a while, he borrowed $9,600 from someone else. I'm not criticizing him borrowing money. I'm pointing out that he swore to me to never borrow money again, but didn't keep his word or apologize to me. Later I realized this person is at the emotions and instincts stage. He is completely unaware of all the wrong things he's done in life and is unwilling to change. Of course we need people like this, but most people are like this. One is following emotions and instincts. Then after doing many bad things, they don't allow others to criticize them and are unaware themselves. You see, this kind of person has basically ruined their life. When you can continuously perceive your emotions and instincts stage actions, you enter the second stage, the self-reflection stage. The biggest trait of the self-reflection stage is you start realizing this way is not good, that way would be better. You constantly review what you have done. Also, you kill your former self, because your former self definitely did things that way. Now you no longer do it that way. Like I said, my former self was always about getting as much pleasure as possible. Always finding ways to please myself, watching videos, dancing girls, military news, playing games, things like that. I realized these things made my work efficiency and learning efficiency very low. At the time I told myself, if I keep going like this, I may not succeed until I'm 60. And I wouldn't allow anyone to point out my problems. If they did, I would use my excellent verbal skills and eloquent theories to defeat them. Then I realized I had wasted so many years this way. When people criticized me, I would say it's because I had an unfortunate childhood family environment. I even used the most classic excuse, due to my unfortunate childhood family environment, being cursed by my parents since I was little, it led to abnormal development of my brain. I lacked creativity, and long-term control by my parents led to abnormal development of my brain nerves. Of course, these were all excuses. I don't know if anyone has come up with an even more preposterous excuse than me. If you're already an adult, why bring up your childhood family environment? It's not to complain about bitterness, but to let everyone know that if someone as unfortunate as me could get out of it, the prerequisite is to stop finding excuses. You're already an adult. You can choose not to live with your parents. The past has already happened and can't be changed. But you can change your destiny now, change the present. In fact, you have the energy to change the present. You just don't want to change. You still want to keep grinding in those excuses. But the problem is, grinding like this until you're 40, 50, 60 years old. In the past I told myself, if I kept complaining until 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, still complaining after going to a nursing home, is it useful? No use. So I walked out of it. The third stage is the closed-loop behavior stage. I believe that a person knowing something doesn't equal really knowing it. Only by doing it to the point of subconsciousness, able to easily and adeptly do it, has he really understood. Look around, everywhere there are people who think they understand but their behavior is still a mess. So this stage is extremely painful. Like I said, I want to be self-disciplined. But then, my hands keep wanting to grab my phone to watch military news, watch dancing girls, play games. You've reflected that your daily habits are doing things that pleasure your emotions rather than valuable things. You've reflected to this point, so why do you still do it this way? So I resolutely said I must require myself to do 1 to 4 hours of proper tasks. After the tasks are done, it's okay to indulge in play. This is the closed-loop behavior stage. I suggest to everyone, write down your problems, shortcomings, and poor behavior in words, memorize them in your brain, then establish new behavior rules. Then when those concrete situations arise, stubbornly do it this way no matter what. Even if the earth explodes, you must do it this way. For example, I previously had an ingratiating personality. I would always buy meals for others. Then I realized the more I ingratiated others, the more they looked down on me. So I changed it. When I changed, if someone called me to buy them a meal, I would say, "Don't you have hands?" For example, when my mom tried to manipulate me, I entered the supermarket to buy her something with high sugar, carcinogenic, not pure cotton. I returned it. Too expensive. Then I directly argued with my mom. I said, "Other than paying, what else can I buy? You require this and that from me every day." Recently, my mom started trying to manipulate me again, forcing all kinds of rules and restrictions on me. Well, the situation came up. My previous ingratiating personality, now I started being blunt and firm. I said, "If you want someone to do something, don't make your own demands and standards, discuss it with them instead of ordering them." In the past, I would have thought speaking to my mother this way was outrageous. But after mastering closed-loop behavior, I said, "This kind of situation has come up, I must do it this way." I don't care if my mom is happy or not, because I feel a person's process of reshaping their personality is very lengthy, not that you cognitively understand and immediately change into a better person. In order to complete the closed loop of self-discipline, I wrote a rule down on paper: I must require myself to complete small goal or task A before doing pleasure thing B. This rule is like an iron law that I will never allow myself to violate. For example, today I must spend 4 hours recording this video fully, finish editing and uploading, before I will let myself do other comfortable things, like going out to play in the afternoon, even if today is a national holiday. No matter how hard, ignore emotions and finish it first, then go do pleasurable things to reward myself. This closed-loop process is extremely painful. I said in a previous video it took me 4 months to achieve closed-loop behavior, after self-reflection. I've seen many people who can't manage to reach this point in their whole lifetime. But it's at this stage that countless people get stuck. Once you get through the closed-loop behavior stage, you can easily open the perspective of the masses stage. What is the perspective of the masses stage? This highly rational stage, you start to easily understand the people and matters around you. Because you've gone through a long process of overcoming yourself. In fact, others are you. How to understand this sentence? The bad habits you have, people around you also universally have, but you've overcome them while they can't overcome them. For example, a girl asked me, "I procrastinate every day." Then I saw an expert online who told me lots of psychological knowledge, saying everyone can immediately become self-disciplined and get rid of procrastination. I told her, "Can't you do it?" Absolutely impossible. She said yes. I said I was the same as you guys in the past. I said even if you don't change, that's okay too. A good teacher, when he discovers students' bad habits, doesn't tell the student how serious their bad habits are, that only his magic solution can fix it. That's snake oil salesman talk. Firstly, a good teacher will tell students it's normal for these symptoms to appear, it's normal to be unable to change right away, all kinds of difficulties encountered are normal, not boast to others you have magic powers, instant transformations. But in this society there are two kinds of people, one who pretends, one who does real work. Often the pretenders can more easily deceive the masses, because the masses' weakness is longing for quick fixes and instant benefits. 1-second transformations, one cognition transforms, one decision transforms. Things like this simply don't exist. So this is called a scythe. When you open the perspective of the masses, and with this perspective can put yourself in others' shoes and think, you will become more peaceful and rational. You won't be as harsh and extreme as before, always thinking something must be A, must be B, must be C, everyone else is wrong. You will only insist on discussing principles and bottom lines with others. Most people you simply won't bother with. Many people watching my videos feel my personality is very domineering. But in real life, truthfully speaking, I never meddle in others' business. In my life I exist in a state of not minding anything, not requiring anything of others. You want to eat eggs, eat whatever you want, play whatever you want, I just cooperate with you. But one major premise is we first finish our work.